Yeah, this session is being recorded. Yeah, correct.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
All right, let's start on.
Yeah. So till now what we have discussed is basically the introduction on HANA, and then we also discussed on the look and feel. So when I say look and feel, basically the navigation part which we discussed. So how, what all components are there in HANA Studio? First of all, how do we go to HANA Studio? How we launch it? Then after launching HANA Studio, how do we check whether database is created or not? Then after that, you look into different perspectives. So you have different. So if you can put it on mute, that will be nice. I think some background noise is coming. So, once you check that database is already created, then in that case you look into different perspective. And when I say perspective, meaning that you look into different areas like HANA modeling. Modeler is one area. Then your admin is another perspective. HANA native development is another perspective. And then you have a life cycle management. So these are some of the perspective which we use. When you go to information modeler or HANA modeler, you get the other details also, like how to create a attribute view, analytic view, and calculation view, and all those. But before that, the most important aspect is that there are on the left-hand side of the HANA Studio, you might have seen catalog and content. So catalog is basically for the database access. So whatever database object you want to create, so catalog will be utilized for that, whether it is table, view, or procedures or synonyms, whatever you want to create. That is one. Second is, once you go into catalog, the first thing which you need to create is your schema. So once you define your schema and you assign the proper authorization to it, then you can create tables, you can create procedures, you can create synonyms and all those things. And so that is about the catalog. Then you have a content. So when I say content, basically it contains the development object, okay? And development object means that you are creating all the modeling. Just a sec. Yeah. So so you are creating all the development objects like attribute view, analytic view, and calculation view. And these objects, development objects, are basically covered as a part of content. But in content, the structure is like this. You have first package. So under content, if you go, first you need to create a package. So package is basically a kind of development class where you assign all the development objects and all. So package is a complete list of all the objects are there. So that is so once you log on to the content, basically you create a package. That is point number one. Point number two, under package you create a different development objects. It could be your analytic view, attribute view, calculation view. You can have the decision table. You can have analytical privileges. You can have other things too. So these are the objects which you created. These are the objects which you create under content. So these two components, which I mean, let me log on to this one and I will show it once again. It will not take much time. So catalog and content, these, oh, what is there? Just a sec, I think I have come to mistakes. So what we are doing is that in HANA you have a content and catalog. So just keep it in mind. Apart from that, you have different perspectives. So let me show you what I'm trying to say. So you can see here I logged on to the remote desktop. So I'm just going to the HANA Studio. I launched the HANA Studio. I think Ritesh is also, he has also joined. Yesterday he was not there. Ritesh, just for your benefit, if you are there, so yesterday what we discussed about was the look and feel and navigation aspect, and before that we also covered a few minutes on the previous session what was covered as a part of introduction. So today we will be discussing on the architecture and all. So yesterday when we were doing the navigation and look and feel, so some of the, so just now you might have seen how I launched the HANA Studio. Once you log on to HANA Studio, so you will get HANA DB. Sometimes admin team can create it, or if many times you will get it there in the customer landscape. If it is not created, you can always do a right click and click on add system. When you click on add system, so you can put the host name, instance number, and then click on next. So it will ask you the user ID and password. So then it will create your this HANA DB. Once you create it, sorry, go ahead.
Rajesh, one question.
Yeah.
So this HDB HANA is I believe is a instance of HANA database.
Correct.
So
you
one
can
machine,
have, in one machine you can have multiple instances of HANA DB.
Okay, yeah, that's what my question is. So I can connect multiple instances here, is that right?
Correct. So you can create multiple instances, not with the same name, but with a different name.
And I can pull the data from different instances into one catalog?
You can pull the data from, yes, unless and until you have sufficient authorization, yes.
Okay. All right, thanks.
So what we saw in this, so you have just now seen how I am creating the HANA DB. So that is one. Second is, if you click on this tree button, you will see this by default, you will see catalog, content, provisioning, and security. Now, security and user management, anyhow, we'll be discussing on that topic later on. So just wanted to briefly tell you about catalog and content. So catalog is anything you want to, any activity you want to do it on the database object, so that is covered under catalog. So catalog, what it contains your schema. So under schema, you will have your database table, procedures, views, not views, but synonyms and all those sequences, all those things will be covered as a part of catalog. So just like Oracle or any other DB, first thing is schema, and under schema you will have all the required database development objects. Now, when we talk about content covers the package, and that package covers the development object like attribute view, analytic view, and calculation view. So what I was talking about was, so when you expand the catalog, so these are the name you are seeing: demo, demo 5, ECC HP, ECC NYS, HANA, SAP XS. So these names are schema. Some of the schemas are standard system-specific schema, like you can see here, sysbi, sysbic, sysrepo. These are system-specific. By default, it will come. Okay. So these are system-specific schema, but these are custom schema. Demo, demo 5, ECC, this one. So if you expand this one, so you can see here column views, functions, indexes, procedures, sequences, synonyms, tables, triggers, views, everything you can create. So mainly we create, sorry, go ahead.
One question, sorry, because look, the HDB HANA is an instance of HANA database. Now, if I have a data, let's say all of my main data in HANA database in the appliance machine, but I have the master data alone in a SQL Server machine. So can I add like what you added like HDB HANA? Can I add a SQL Server like that? If I add, what are the folders I will get? Okay, is that all possible?
No, so SQL Server you cannot add it like that, because whatever DB you are creating, it is basically creating a HANA DB. So whatever is there specific to HANA, you are creating it. But if you want to take the data from SQL in a flat file, and you can load it into HANA DB, that is one possibility you can have. But you cannot have an instance of SQL Server in the HANA DB.
in the modeler.
Correct.
In the modeler. I cannot add like right click, add system, add
Right.
SQL Server.
Right, right.
Okay. Okay, so
Normally
I should
that
first
is,
push the data from SQL Server to HANA DB using data provisioning, and then I have to add the instance.
Instance for SQL Server is not required, but what you can do, you create first instance of a HANA DB, right? You can create, say, you are Karthik, so you can say KDB. That is one database you want to create. So you can create your database KDB. Now in KDB, you want to put all the data related to SQL Server.
Okay,
what you can do, you can take your file, flat file, the content out of SQL Server in a flat file, and you can load it using import wizard in the HANA Studio. So entire data will get replicated. But before that, you need to create a table structure in your HANA DB so that your data, flat file data is matched to that one.
Okay, got it. Continue. Thanks.
Yeah.
So HANA database will be having the multiple instance?
Yeah, you can have multiple instances here. So suppose you have, this is HANA DB, right? You can also create here a new, like KDB you can also create. So you can create, this is one server, right? Under one server, you can have multiple instances of HANA DB also. And
so where your data will get stored by default?
Correct. So it all depends on, okay, now let me clarify that point. So if I click on data provisioning, so I am using the SLT, right? Now in SLT, you can see the target schema here. Okay. So target schema is main thing. So if you see this one, HANA D, so here you have a target schema ECC NYS. So this is the schema where it will store the data. When you are taking the data from your data source ECC, you will store the data in your HANA DB under that schema.
Let's say actually I have one ECC instance, right?
Right.
And have a HANA as a database.
Correct.
Okay. So can I have the, let's say, multiple location, let's say one database reside in India, one is Australia, one is USA. Okay. So that all data will get synced with the single HANA database if I have multiple kind of data?
So just in, this is one server, okay? Under one server, you will have different instances. So that will work as a separate node. So what I'm saying is that this is one HDB which is having catalog, content, your security and provisioning. Another will be KDB. So KDB will have another security, content, catalog and all. So it all depends how you want to structure your database. Normally, for a landscape, development environment or production, we create one instance, but it all depends on your usage scenario and your landscape option. So there is a multiple component one system, there is a multiple component one database. So that way there is MCOD, MCOS, all these usage scenarios are there, which we will be discussing in the next session as a part of usage scenario. So there I will show you what exactly I am trying to communicate on the database instances. So just bear with me till next class. You will get the clarity how I am saying that how the database instances will be structured.
So let's say in India user, they can use that particular database, right? If it is actually splitted within that.
No, within one database you cannot split it. What you can do is that if you want to create a multiple instances of the database, that you can do. What I am saying is, if you want to split the same database like HDB, you want to split it, that you can't do it. You can do it, HDB, KDB, PDB, whatever you want to create, you can create it. So ultimately you are having different instances within the same server.
Okay. Okay. So based on that schema, it will store the data, right?
Correct.
Okay. Okay. And what will be the by default schema for the SAP?
It all depends, like by default, so suppose it all depends on how you configure your SLT configuration. So if you are configuring SLT, that time it will ask you under which schema you want to store it. So whatever name you give, that schema will be chosen for storing the data.
Okay, in case of fresh installation, we need to define the schema, right? At the time of installation, you mean to say?
So SLT, what you do, that there is a transaction code, LTR. So there you have a wizard basically. So there you are dashboard and monitoring. There you have to configure it will ask you, okay, tell me what is the schema you want to use. I'll say test SLT. So fine, I'm going to use test SLT. So what it will do when you are extracting the data from ECC using SLT, it will create a schema there in HANA which is called test SLT, and there it will store the data. So it all depends on your configuration which you are doing in SLT server. That configuration will determine where you want to store the data. So your point, the point of confusion for you is you are thinking where the data will get stored if I don't know. So your configuration wizard will tell you what is the schema you have chosen where you want to store the data. So that schema will be chosen and entry will be done there. So it all depends on your configuration aspect. So at one point of time you are defining, okay, under this schema I want to store the data.
Yeah, that's true. But in case of new or fresh installation, let's say for the business of business intelligence, right, BI.
Correct.
So
Yeah,
at
correct.
that time, it will ask for the schema, or it will default create the schema, and all tables and structure will get created on that.
Yeah. So when you are talking about a fresh or new installation, the first thing is anyhow you are going to create HDB, KDB, whatever you want to give the name for the HANA data. That will be there for sure. Without that, you cannot do any activity on the HANA server. So once you define your HDB or KDB, whatever name you give. So once you define that, after that, when you are working on the data provisioning aspect, the most important thing is you have to configure. You have to do some configuration in SLT server. Okay, there is a transaction code LTR. When you open that LTR transaction code, there you have to specify under which schema you want to store the data which is going to be extracted from ECC. So the point which you are asking me, even in the fresh installation or even in the old installation, you have to put a schema name in the configuration wizard of SLT that, okay, under this schema I want to store the data. So it is irrespective of old installation or new installation, you have to specify it in your configuration.
So how does the default structure and table and everything get created?
Okay, so whatever ECC structure is there, same thing will get replicated here in HANA. Why? I will show you. I understand your curiosity, what you want to ask. Okay, let me show you. This is a replicate button. If I click on replicate, right now it will not work because DB connection is not set up. So I choose table T001. Okay, I click on this one. So this is your one of the table because T001 is already replicated. I select this, so I just go to this one. If I click on this one, it will say authorization is not there or something, some progress. So wait just a sec. I go to catalog, I go to ECC NYS, I go to tables. So can you see the Mara, Mardi, all these tables? So this is the table in ECC, right?
Right.
Now if you open this, let me show you. If you open all these fields are there.
Installation?
Sorry?
In case of just BI install on that particular instance, right? Not connectivity,
so
I'm just talking about the BI default.
Okay, so there are two things. BI, when we are talking about BI is your client tool, which is basically a reporting tool. So you can have your Crystal report, dashboard, analysis, MS Excel, Lumira, POPG Explorer. These are your BI tools. When you are using your BI tool, what you are consuming modeling objects like analytical view, attribute view, calculation. These are the objects you consume via BI tool. BI tool is not consuming anything related to your data provisioning or SLT data which you have transferred. What it consumes is your modeling.
Having its default table, right? Let's say for user it will, let's say USR04 will be there, right?
Okay, so you are talking about separate thing. You are talking about a system-based table, correct?
Exactly.
Okay, so that is what I was talking about few minutes back. So when you go for the system-based table, so these are some of the system-based schema: SysBIC, SysBI, this repo. So these are system-based schema. By default, it will come.
Yeah, that was my basically question. What are the default schema will get created?
Okay, okay, fine. So
Okay,
if,
then you can define so where other means your integration with the BI. So what are our table you want to basically get it replicated to the HANA database? Then you can define whatever you are just showing me, right?
But when we are going to integrate it with BI, the only concerning point for me is the modeling object, because with BI I only interact with the modeling object. I don't do anything else. So whatever data you have, how exactly it is structured, I'm telling you. You have a catalog where you have database objects, all the tables, views, procedures, everything. Now table, when we are talking about table contains your data values, correct? Okay. So when you are using a modeling object, like you are creating attribute view, analytic view, and calculation view, basically your modeling object is taking the data from the catalog objects. So ultimately, when you are consuming your modeling objects using the BI tool, ultimately you are consuming both modeling object, which is a kind of view which you have created on the top of data, and also it is consuming the data. So you are correlating your catalog to content, and content is getting exposed to BI client tool.
Okay. And you just were just showing me the example of actually USR 001, right?
Right, right.
So once you select that and select the schema, so it will replicate entire structure from ECC, right? So that is what you mean to say?
No, so here I have a confusion. So when you are saying replicate entire structure means what? You are trying to replicate tables, or you are trying to replicate what exactly you are trying to replicate?
Yeah. So let's say I have selected MNDT, right?
Correct.
MNDT.
Right.
So,
MANDT is just a field in the table, which is a mandatory for client, correct?
okay, for Mara, right?
Correct, correct.
Let's say I want to add Mara table from ECC, right, to HANA database.
Correct.
Right?
Right.
So if I select table, as you were just showing on, just now showing USR 001,
yeah,
right?
correct. Yeah.
So, and you have when you need to establish the connectivity with ECC, right?
Right.
Okay. So once connectivity is established, then you just put the name of table. So it will capture the entire table structure with all this field, and then after you can push the data into that table.
Yes. So when we are replicating the Mara table or anything, the entire structure content of the table plus the data values will get replicated to HANA DB. Okay. Now the point number two is that when you are talking about point number two is, yeah, sorry Rakapam, you might be late, sorry for the confusion. So point number two is when you replicate the data, there are two strategies. One is initial loading. So what you do in initial loading, you transfer the entire data set which you are having in a source system, you push it to target system. So ultimately what is happening, both of your database, both database get synced up. So whatever value in source is there, target will have the same value. Now point number two, second strategy, incremental load. What is happening? I am changing some value. I am creating some new value. So those things should automatically get replicated to HANA DB. How it is happening? It is happening through real-time mode in SLT. So I'll discuss with you all on. I understand your curiosity, but if you just see this one, there are certain in process. Can you see the in process here?
Right.
Yeah. So in process means it is real time. So whenever changes are happening in your ECC, automatically it will get replicated. And yesterday I was talking to Karthik and Siva. So what I was telling him about the end-to-end reporting is that just a sec. Yeah. So yesterday, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yesterday I was talking to Karthik and Siva. So what I was telling him that suppose if I am a part of management team and I am looking at a report, the data representation in a kind of reporting format, which could be a pie chart, bar chart, line graph, whatever it may be, right? So what is happening is that at 10 o'clock I am looking at a report and I am seeing a value A for a certain field. Now at 10:10 something got changed in ECC. And what is happening, the beauty of that real-time mode is that at 10:10 that value change B will get replicated immediately from ECC to HANA. I don't have to do any, I don't have to run any job. It will automatically get replicated because the process is in process. So whatever change is happening, automatically it will get replicated. Once it comes to HANA DB, so at 10:10 or 10:11, when I refresh the report, my value B will get updated in that report. So this is the
refreshing, you will get your value get reflected, right?
Correct, correct. So this is the beauty of real-time reporting. Why HANA is getting more popularity for in-memory database and in-memory database and reporting kind of thing. The reason is that it is able to provide the real-time analysis of the data. So anything got changed in ECC, immediately it will get replicated to HANA, and then you can see the updated value in a report. Point number 2 is in-memory database is there, so your data storage is happening in RAM, and when data storage is happening in RAM, basically you are storing the data in column-wise, and your retrieval becomes much faster as compared to the traditional database, where you are storing the data in a row-wise. So there are immediate advantages associated with in-memory DB, and that's why customers are going for real-time data access, in-memory DB, faster retrieval, and also it is able to manage the high volume of data. So when we are talking about the in-memory DB, it is also able to manage the high volume of data. Why? Because the compression factor in case of column-wise storage is 5 to 30 times more than what you have it in your disk-based storage. So there are certain advantages associated with it. So that's why customers are going for it. And immediate advantage you will get it in reporting and other things.
Just
so when we are, yeah.
Actually, just wanted to understand the column and row-based basically database compared to the columnar-based database, right? So what are the basically algorithm used basically to get that retrieval faster? So that just wanted to understand, because actually last session I missed that, and I think that was discussed in that.
Yeah, I'll send you that one. Yeah, I'll send you that document also, and I'll send you the. I think recording session is there. I'll check with Naresh. So I'll send
yes, I think yesterday we recorded. So.
Yeah, so it might be stored in Naresh repository. So I'll check with him. So so what I will do, in case if you have any difficulty after going through that document, we'll definitely discuss it again on that. So that is not an issue.
And the second question was, you just talking about the real-time synchronization of the data, right?
Correct, correct.
So what basically methodology or kind of algorithm used to get that data replicated on the real-time base?
So that is, yeah, good question. So that is actually a part of data provisioning, and we have the second class from now will be a dedicated session on the data provisioning. So there are different ways and means on the data provisioning. One is called SLT, one is called BODS, which is another SAP ETL tool. Then you have DXT, data extractor connection. You have a flat file based upload process. So these are some of the data loading process, or we call it data provisioning. In HANA terminology, we call it data provisioning. Now, when we talk about the SLT, we always think about real-time process. When we talk about the BODS, business object data services, we always think about a batch mode kind of environment. Though it can be used for the real-time scenario too, but ultimately we are thinking about a batch mode process when we are talking about the BODS case. So based on the different ways and means which we have for data provisioning, there are certain features associated with it. So whenever we talk about the real-time data access, we go with SLT, because if your data source is SAP ECC, it will be a preferred choice. When you have a data source like BW or file system or non-SAP system, you try to leverage BODS as a data provisioning tool. When you have a simple flat file from mainframe system or a legacy system, you simply use a HANA Studio import wizard to load the data directly into the table. So there are certain methods associated with it. So to answer your question, what all algorithms are there? So basically SLT is one way, BODS is another way, flat file is another way, DXC is another way. So it all depends on
tools basically.
No. These are so here. Yes, I'll try to park this question for a data provisioning session. But just to brief, I mean, just to answer your question, when we talk about SLT, we need to set up a separate SLT server. Okay, that is one. If you are talking about BODS, you need to set up a separate BODS server. If you are talking about DXC, you need to set up that one. Flat file is something which is inbuilt to HANA Studio, so you can load the flat file directly. But talking about the other, the ETL tool from SAP, which is BODS, you need a separate server. For SLT, you need a separate server, or you can install SLT on the ECC box. Why? Because SLT is residing on the ABAP stack. So ECC is pure ABAP stack. Same way, SLT is also pure ABAP stack. So it all depends how you configure, how you design your architecture. So if you have an architecture like if you want to set up the SLT server on a separate box, which is a recommended way, you can set it up. You need to activate the DMIS add-on component on the top of ABAP stack. So there is a ABAP add-on which needs to be activated in the switch framework in SPRO configuration, and from there you can activate it. Once you activate it, then your connection will become HANA Studio to SLT as a DB connection, and SLT to ECC as a RFC connection.
Okay. So Sidecar is a part of that only?
Sidecar is different. Yeah, that is a good question, and that's why, I mean, you know, there are many things which we are going to discuss in next 3-4 classes. So I just request you to have a present, just to brief you on Sidecar approach. In case of Sidecar approach, you put HANA as a HANA DB as a secondary database, and you replicate the data using SLT to HANA DB, and from there you get the reading activity, and then you get the reporting out of HANA DB. So that is basically a Sidecar approach.
Okay.
Yeah. So today, so we were going through the navigation. So if you see the windows, if you click on Windows, you have different perspectives. So yesterday we saw what all perspective we have. So one of the perspective was modeler. So if you click on modeler, you will get this quick launch screen. So here you have all the options for creating a content and all those. Like you can create a package, select it and create a package here. Then you click on attribute, you click on create. Or what you can do is you simply go to content, just a sec. You simply go to content, and when you go to content, these are your packages. Demo 1, 5, these are packages. What you need to do is you select this one and do a right click. When you do a right click, you will get a new, and then you can see here attribute, analytic view, calculation view, analytical privilege, procedure, decision table. So all those things you can do. So that is your modeler. Then if you go to the admin console, which might be of your interest, Ritesh, that what you need to do is you select this one. You select this HANA DB and click on Open Default Configuration. So here you have all the information related to your HANA DB. So basically you will have your overview, like what is the SUSE Linux platform you have. Now STS 8 onward, they have also started supporting the Red Hat RHEL, right? So earlier it was only supporting SUSE Linux, so now OS is supported by RHEL also. So that is one. So then you have your database usage and all those things. You have a landscape. So once you go to the landscape, you have all the services: compile server, index server, name server, preprocessor, and all those. Then you have a host, basically what is the host and port and all those things. Then you have a system replication and all those, how you want to configure your system replication and all this. Then you
So
go
this
to
detail
alert.
about the service is already discussed or to be discussed?
No, this one just overview I discussed yesterday just as a part of look and feel navigation, which is aligned to your certification chapters. So I just discussed these things, but there will be a dedicated session on this complete details, like what is there in diagnosis, what is there in system information, what is there in volume, how do we set up all those things. So there will be a dedicated session on that one.
Okay, so all service demo and all this thing will be discussed at that time.
Yeah. So basically, I mean, I will be covering the high level of the entire aspect, overview, landscape, alerts, performance, volumes, how you configure alerts, how you do a debugging or tracing, tracing of the root cause of the problem, then how you configure your, what are the ways and means to do the monitoring and troubleshooting, administration and monitoring for the HANA server. Are you going to have a solution manager, or you are going to have a DBA cockpit, or you are going to have just a HANA Studio as a mechanism toward monitoring and administration. So that way you can, we can discuss many topics around that one. So just I'm parking those things there because I understand your curiosity level, but at the same time, we just have to be going at a pace where we can cover up the current topic which we have taken up. So these are some of the things which we saw. Then if you want to do OpenSQL, just do a right click on that one, OpenSQL. You can open your SQL editor here and you can write anything, create a schema, something, right? Test, say retest, something like that you can do. When you click on execute button here, you can create your schema and all. So that way you have multiple options available for SQL specific requirement also. Okay, so today what we
it will be same as
the sorry.
It will be same as PLSQL statement, whatever query and all this thing.
Correct. It will be aligned to that one only. So if you have a good exposure around SQL, you can leverage that skill set to work on that on the SQL function. So there are other things also that SQL script is there where you are writing all the procedures and everything. So if you are comfortable with those things, you can always leverage. But I always try to avoid coding and instead try to go for the standard approach, meaning wizard-based approach. So that is what I always try to do. So so that is what my goal is basically. Okay. So okay. So now what I was trying to so these are some of the things which we discussed yesterday, like how we how the look and feel of HANA is. Then I also tried to show what all components related to BI is there, how you can go to the boards, how you can go to the BI component, what all tools are available to us. So since this system is not accessible to you because this system is some different system I am using for this purpose, but you will have a system access very soon, maybe in a day or two you will have access to the system, and then you can, I'm just trying to check all the components are there or not, because in many servers some components are not working. So I'm trying to work out on that with Naresh, and maybe in a day or two you will get your system access. So then you have a HANA development also, and yesterday I was explaining what is the need of HANA development, why you need a HANA development. So basically this is an area where you can connect your HANA with your mobility, right? So this is earlier HANA 1.0 SPS5, before HANA 1.0 SPS5, we were leveraging SAP NetWeaver Gateway. Just a second. Yeah. So before HANA 1.2 SPS5, we were leveraging a product called SAP NetWeaver Gateway, and that product is still being used. I also used it many times. The advantage of that product is that you can expose your backend functionality as a REST services, and I explained yesterday what is REST service, what is SOAP service. So there are two types of services, SOAP and REST. SOAP is basically a heavyweight in terms of complexity and protocol. So normally all the companies like Google and Yahoo and all the companies now, they are going towards the REST-based services. Why? Because it is lightweight in nature. Now the advantage of REST-based services are that you can connect it to the lightweight devices like your iPad, iPhone, Android, or HTML5 based application or SAP UI5. So the beauty of this native application development is that you can expose your backend data of HANA to the mobile devices and your iPad, your HTML5 based application or SAP UI5 based application. So that is why we are also, so when we were talking about the what all areas we have based on your roles and experience, you can align your skill set around it. So one is the modeling area. So if you are very comfortable with a strong BI background, focus on the modeling side. Second is your end-to-end reporting. So end-to-end reporting involving all the data modeling, data provisioning, your BI client tool, connecting BI client tool to HANA and consuming the modeling objects. So that is your end-to-end reporting. And then third area is admin, HANA admin area. And fourth area is native application development. And fifth area, if you want to explore, is somewhere around your data provisioning. So if you want to have a good expertise around BODS, which is Business Object Data Services, which is an ETL tool of SAP, you can have your skill set around that. But to be very frank with you, whatever is associated in terms of doing the data provisioning activity for HANA, we are going to cover up to that much part. BODS itself is another product and it's a very extensive area. So we will not be covering the entire aspect, but yes, to some extent we will be covering in order to make sure that we know how the data replication is happening between the source system and the target system of HANA. So those things definitely we are going to cover up, but I will not touch base on all other topics related to BODS. So just wanted to make you aware of that fact. So now, what we are going to cover today is, we have seen the system. Now we are going to cover up the architecture part. Now look, what I did yesterday, that I had gone through some of the training content of SAP, HA 100 and 300. I think Ritesh, you raised the point that you want to go for certification and all. So it will be nice that it would be nice that if I align my course structure with the certification material. Just to your help and to everyone's help, what I have done is topic-wise I have taken those topics. So, but the area of training is more wider than certification area. So you will get more exposure on the HANA. So if you ask me, are we going to cover predictive analytics or HANA Hadoop integration in certification? No. But those are advanced topics, but that will help you while doing the projects, while approaching your client or customer. That time it will help you. Are we covering ABAP with HANA? No. In certification we are not covering. In certification, what all things we are covering? We are just covering introduction, look and feel, architecture, data provisioning, modeling, reporting, and user management. These are the topics which we are covering. The rest of the topics we are not covering. So at the same time, HANA is not only limited to those areas, to be very frank with you. So my suggestion and my request to everyone here is that don't focus only on the certification material. Reason is that then in that case you are going to limit yourself. So it is better to expand yourself and get exposure to all the areas which are associated with it. Now if you talk about native application development, right now every customer is asking for it. So if you ask me, is it a critical part in certification? In certification, you will not get even a single question on native application. But at the same time, customer is having a demand for native application. So there are two perspectives. One is certification to make yourself as an authorized resource in the SAP pool talent, SAP talent pool. And second is your project, which is your more practical exposure and how you implement the HANA project and all. So that is very critical. But at the same time, I also yesterday communicated to Karthik and Siva that I'll keep on sharing some of the details related to best practices, lessons learned, challenges, all those things throughout the training process. So it might be available in the last sections also. So I'll be sharing those things based on my experience and the project which I have done. So just wanted to share these informations with you. So in architecture, what we are going to cover up is what is the HANA architecture overview. And to be very frank with you, these topics are very theoretical in nature. Sometimes you may get bored. Bear with me. When demo will start, you will have more clarity on the HANA processes and components. So just bear with me for these topics, because ultimately I have to cover, because these things are aligned to your certification material also. So I just need to cover it. I don't have any other way out. So just bear with me. So HANA architecture overview. What are the architecture views? Then high performance analytic appliance, IMC modular features, and modeling process flow. So we are going to cover up these topics as a part of HANA architecture. Now, when we talk about the HANA architecture, so SAP HANA database is basically developed in C++ and runs on SUSE Linux Enterprise. Now here I want to make a correction. Correction is that now HANA, so the latest version available in market is HANA 1.2 SPS 9. Now HANA 1.2 SPS 8 onward, SAP has started supporting Red Hat Linux also. So just to correct you here, don't think that only SUSE Linux is being supported as OS in HANA. No, that is not a correct statement. Correct statement is in addition to your SUSE Linux, your Red Hat Linux is also being supported as a part of OS.
So other OS that AIX and Sun Solaris or SPX also supported, or just SUSE and
no, SUSE Linux till SPS 7. After SPS 8, SUSE Linux plus Red Hat Linux.
Only these two OS only.
Yeah, correct.
No other OS, right?
No other. Yeah. And to have a better information about this one, you can always look into PAM, Product Availability Matrix. So there they have clearly given all the guidelines. So if you don't have that document, maybe I'll share it with you later on.
Okay.
Now, one thing which I forgot to mention, many people ask me, what is the version of HANA I'm using? And that is a very basic question. So one should always know how to check the version of HANA. So if I go to let me go to this one. Now, if I go to this one, I select HANA DB and I do a right click. And then I click on properties. When I click on properties, I see a version history. Now here, yesterday I was explaining it to Karthik and Siva. Here, HANA 1.00 is okay, meaning HANA 1.0 is being used. What is the SPS value? SPS value is 6. Now, if it is 70, it will be 7. If it is 80, it will be 8. If it is 90, it will be 9. If it is 40, it is SPS 4. If it is 50, it is SPS 5. So just keep it in mind. So when we talk about the HANA version, we call it HANA 1.0 SPS 6, SPS 7, SPS 8, SPS 9. Up to 9 market, it is released in the market, not after that one. Now HANA, when it got, when the evolution of HANA happened, like way back in November 2010, so the first time it was launched. So it is just a 4 years or 4.5 years old product, right? So it was launched as HANA 1.0, okay? So then later on HANA 1.0 SPS 1, HANA 1.0 SPS 2, SPS 3, SPS 4, SPS 5 and SPS 6. So currently this system is basically SPS 6. So don't think that this system will be used. You will have another system access and we'll check the version. So even if your version is 6 or 7, don't worry that your version is not 9. So how exactly it will be in terms of look and feel. Don't worry for that one. There won't be a major change in terms of look and feel, but yes, some functionalities might be added to each of the support packs. So when we are talking about the HANA 1.0 SPS 9, you have certain features like a smart data access and all those. So those features might not be available in the current version which we are using. So based on the features you are enhancing, you are just getting a new component and you are adding those functionality. So just wanted to make you aware that don't worry, even if it is SPS5, HANA 1.2 SPS5, you are good enough, because in the customer landscape you will get somewhere around HANA 1.2 SPS5, HANA 1.2 SPS6 or HANA 1.2 SPS7, etc. So that is there. Okay. Now, so this slide is basically talking about HANA database is developed using C++, and the OS supported OS is SUSE Linux and Red Hat Linux. So these are the two things. Second is, what are the key components within the HANA architecture, HANA server? So when we are talking about the HANA important component in the HANA server, so index server is the most important one, and then you have a name server, a statistics server, preprocessor, access engine, and all. So as I mentioned to you, access engine is being used in the HANA native application development. So SAP has given a native access engine that is called extended service engine, by which you can expose your backend functionality to the lightweight devices like mobile app, like Android, BlackBerry, iPhone, and you can update the content there. So that is on the first slide. Now second slide is basically talking about how the structure looks like. So if you can see my screen here, this is basically client application. These are client application, and this client application is basically accessing the HANA server. So when we see HANA server, you have your index server, you have preprocessor, you have statistical server, name server, and HANA access engine, and then it is also connected with the HANA Studio. So this is the basic architecture on the HANA server. Now let us go through what is index server, what is preprocessor, what is statistical server, what is name server, what is access engine, and all. So when we are talking about the index server, basically it contains the actual data and the engines for the processing the data. So it also coordinates and uses all the other servers. So basically index server is containing all the actual data and what all engines is processing that data. All the details are being captured in the HANA index server. Now what is name server? Name server holds information about the HANA database topology. This is used in a distributed system with the instance of a HANA database on different rows. The name server knows where the components are running and which data is located on which server. So that way you can define your architecture. Then you have a statistics server which collects information about the status, performance, and resource consumption from all other server components. And from the SAP HANA Studio, we can access the statistics server to get the status of various other monitors also. Then you have a preprocessor basically for analyzing text data and extracting the information on which text search capabilities are based on. Then HANA Access Engine, what is that? HANA Access Engine is extended service engine. It's an optional component, but it is very it is gaining the popularity because of the fact that now SAP is trying to make everything mobile enabled and all those. So all those, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, here index server is having kind of indexes what we used to have on a table, or it's a different?
Index server is basically on the table. That is what your question is?
Yeah, like we have indexes on the table, so same way that server will act as index.
Correct. So whatever tables are there which contains the actual data, right? And then you have the engines. So as I mentioned to the previous class, there are different engines available within your HANA server, which processes each of the which basically captures each of the functionality. So if you are working on SQL, there is a SQL engine. If you are working on OLAP, you have a OLAP engine. If you are working on row-based storage, you have a row-based
calculation.
Row-based activity or calculation coverage you have. Same way, if you are doing for column based, so you have a coverage with the column based. So all these things are covered as a part of, so these are separate engines, and when you are getting a transactional data or data for posting the data on a server system, basically, yeah, if you can put it on mute, sorry. So what I'm saying is that if you are running a transaction, you will get a data, and your processing engine, multiple processing engine will basically process it in a faster way. So that is the meaning of multiple engines. So when we are talking about the index server, we are containing the actual data which might be residing on a table, plus the different processing engines which we have as a part of HANA server.
Rajesh, one quick one.
Yeah.
See, when we say the Access engine, see, once we build the calculation, we are using the universe, we will publish it, and then we already create a mobile dashboard and everything, right? Using BI tools. What difference is that?
Yeah, here I differ. I differ because of the one reason. One, you have a BI tool which basically consumes the modeling object and expose it to the different BI client tools like WebEye or Lumira or Business Object Explorer and all. Second is, when we are talking about the Access engine, it is basically a mobile or web app related activity. It is not at all related.
Example? Can you give me an example just to understand?
So suppose I have created a modeling object, right? Same modeling object, I can expose it using the BI client tool like Lumira. Can somebody put it on mute because it is different? Yeah, thank you. So when you are trying to expose your modeling objects, be it related to attribute view, analytic view, and calculation view, what you are doing, you have two approaches. One, you want to cover it as a part of end-to-end reporting. In that process, you are exposing it to the different BI client tools, and ultimately your user or management team will access to that URL or whatever you say. There they will log on and see the output related to the BI client tool. Second option is related to Access engine. When we are talking about the Access engine, you have the same functionality of the backend data and the views around it. You want to expose it to the iPhone, Android, BlackBerry, or HTML5 based app, HTML5 based system, or SAP GUI based processor. So basically, you are exposing the modeling objects or the content of the modeling objects on a web or on a iPad or mobile devices. So it is slightly different from what we are having it in case of BI tool, because BI tool is more of your product suite which you have taken for the license, and basically you are leveraging one or two components out of it and then exposing it to the client team. But here you are generating a URL, you are creating a kind of services, and you are also you are basically trying to expose it on the website, or you are trying to expose it on your mobile devices and all. So there is a difference in terms of usage of the modeling object. One is using BI client tool, another is using mobile devices or Android or iPhone or other tools to use it. So there is a basic difference between that.
So if I finish this, if I use the BI tool for reporting through an Android, through an iPhone or Apple or iPhone or mobile device, then I'm not using the Access engine.
No, if you are using the BI client tool, then you are not leveraging the Access engine.
All right. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah. Fine. So the HANA architecture overview. Now, what I'm doing is, out of all the components which you have seen, index server, preprocessor, name server, catalog, Access engine, and all those, or a statistical server, the index server is the most important component. Because, and to be very frank with you, these are the internal architecture. It might be theoretical concept to you. You need to understand how theoretically it is structured. But, and also it may help you in getting the certification questions also around it. But in the real-time scenario, you never know what is index server, how exactly you are using it. To some extent, you might be using it through admin process that I am not that I'm not saying that it is not being covered, but in an actual scenario, when you are doing a project and all, these things never come up. Basically, these are internal hardware structures of the HANA server. Okay, so when we are talking about the HANA index server, basically you have, and also yesterday I mentioned HANA Studio or HANA is also, or if you are saying HANA engine, that is also known as IMCE engine, meaning in-memory computing engine, IMCE. So if you are saying HANA Studio, I can also term it as IMCE Studio. So there are different naming conventions for the same thing in memory database. So that is, so when we are talking about the index server, basically you have a connection and session management. Then you have a second area which is called request processing and execution control. So you have all the major components like SQL parser, SQL script, MDX, and calculation engine. Then you have a relational engine, row store, column store. You have a authorization manager, metadata manager, transaction manager, and all. You also have a persistent layer, page management logger, and data volumes, etc. So these are some of the details on this one. So what I have done in next few slides is connection and session management. What exactly is there? SQL parser, what is there in SQL parser? What is? So I have defined these details. These are more theoretical. So what I suggest you, just go through the PPT which I am going to share it with you. If you find any difficulty in understanding this one, you can always come back to me and ask me this question. So I am not going through it because connection and session management, it is quite obvious like what exactly it means. So component is responsible for creating and managing sessions and connections for the database client. Once a session is established, client can communicate with SAP HANA database using SQL statement. For each session, a set of parameters are maintained like auto commit, current transaction, isolation level. Users are authenticated either by SAP HANA database itself, or authentication can be delegated to external authentication providers such as LDAP directory and all. So these are just the theoretical aspects. So just go through that. 2 pages are there. I think 2 or 3 slides are there. Okay. So just go through that. I have tried to put everything. What is authorization manager? What is transaction manager and all those. So just go through that. If you find any difficulty, just let me know. Now this is the main thing which I am talking about. Why I discussed about index server, statistics server, name server, catalog server, preprocessor and all those. Reason is that ultimately you are seeing here SQL parser, MDX, calculation engine, replication server, transaction manager, authorization manager, metadata manager, page management, persistent layer, disk storage, everything is getting registered here. Basically, when we are doing any activity, all the activities will be getting registered there in the HANA server. So this is basically. So you remember in the introduction, I think yesterday also I repeated the same thing. When we are talking about the HANA activity or HANA component architecture, there are 4 components in HANA. One is called client tool, which is nothing but your HANA Studio. Second is called your data sources. So that is nothing but ECC or BW or legacy system or a kind of file system. And the third component is called your HANA server, which is this server. This server is your HANA server. So your HANA DB resides here. And fourth component is your basically this BI client tool. So you have 4 components. This is your in-memory computing studio. You have your data sources here. This is your second component. Third component is your in-memory computing engine or HANA server, where you have all the in-memory DB, and all those things. And fourth component is basically your BI client tool, MS Excel, Lumira, dashboard analysis, Crystal Port, all these things are there. Now, this is a IMC component view. Don't get confused by.
Rajesh, Shiva here, sorry to interrupt you. Here on the left hand side, like there you have mentioned like SAP business objects, right? It's not one of the data source. I believe it's kind of a
No.
reporting tool, right?
Yeah, no. When we talk about the business object data source, it's an ETL tool for SAP.
Oh, okay.
Now, why we are using business object data services here is when we are interacting with BW, we are trying to leverage bots. So that's why this is mentioned as a data source there, because ultimately an ETL tool will be connected to your data source, and which is nothing but your BW.
Got it. Thank you.
Now, from here, there will be few slides. Just pay an attention. What I am trying to do here is, when you are doing certain activity, be it reporting, be it modeling, be it database, be it admin, what all components out of this HANA architecture you are leveraging, that piece I am going to tell you. And just pay an attention to it. And it is very easy slide. So you will be able to recognize what I am trying to say. So suppose I am using a DB engine view. So DB, when we talk about the DB, we are just using the HANA server component, which is this component. Out of 4 components, this component is only responsible for a DB engine view. This is your global, this is your holistic view of your HANA architecture. So you have 4 components. This is your HANA Studio, this component is your data source, this component is your HANA, sorry, this component is your database engine view, and this component is your BI client tool. Now we are discussing on the next slide, which is database engine. So it is nothing but your server part. So whatever you have seen in the server, you are using that as a database engine view. Now this slide is very important. This is talking about the data provisioning or a data loading. Okay, so this is talking about the data provisioning or a data loading. Now what is data provisioning or data loading? Okay, now when we are talking about the data provisioning or a data loading, basically we are extracting the data from the source system. What could be your source system? ECC, BW, or legacy file system or a mainframe system. From there you are pulling the data and loading it into the HANA DB. So that is called your data provisioning or a data loading. So in this case, what we are doing, so what all components we are using? We know 4 components are there. So first we go to HANA Studio. Here we are using modeling aspect because we are triggering a fire command. We are firing a request from HANA Studio for pulling the data. So that the request is there. So basically this component of the HANA Studio is being used, modeling. Second is your data sources, which is quite obvious. You can have your ECC or BW or flat file system, which is correct here. So you are using this component and you are using HANA Studio modeling component. Now in the third, in the server side, you are just using a component called replication server. So that replication server, what it does, whatever is there in your source, you are trying to replicate into the target by after going through the modification and the transformation rules. So that is your, when we are talking about the data loading view, so these are the 3 components which are getting utilized. HANA Studio, data sources, and replication server within the HANA server. Now, when we are talking about a modeling, what all components we use? When we are talking about modeling, basically we are using HANA Studio modeling, then we are leveraging the data sources, which is quite obvious, and then you are using a metadata manager here in the HANA server. So these are the 2 activities related to HANA. Now third is reporting. When we are talking about reporting,
Rajesh, one question.
Yeah.
Just one question. So in the last before slide, if you go to the slide before, and the data modeling view, we are using, if you see the business objects enterprise area on the left hand side, we are also adding SBO information design tool. So what is this actually?
Okay. So SBOC is what? SAP Business Object Platform. So when we are talking about SBOP, there are multiple tools available to it. So you might be knowing that we create a universe, right?
Yes, that's a ID. That's a information
design.
Yeah, IDT. Yeah.
Yeah. So using IDT, we create a universe. So that's why this tool is there. So when we are talking about When we are talking about SBO, basically it is SAP Business Object Platform, which contains your IDT, Information Designer tool. Using that, you create a universe. When you create a universe, then you can utilize it in WebI, which is your web intelligence, or you can utilize it in your analysis.
All right, got it. Thanks.
So this is your reporting. Now we are coming back to reporting view. So when we are talking about a reporting view, basically we are using the data sources, which is quite common. Then I'm using this request processing and execution control. So here MDX is suitable for which? MDX driver is suitable for Excel. Okay. Then you have a SQL parser, script, row store, column store. So this component we are using, and obviously BI client tool we are going to use. So these are the three components when we are talking about the reporting. Now, when we are talking about the administration view, basically we are using this HANA Studio admin component, and then we are using this page management, persistence layer, logger, and all those things, disk storage. We are using that part of the server. And same thing. So in nutshell, if you want to understand the architecture, this is the slide where you need to focus more. So this is your HANA Studio, which is one component. These are your data sources, which is your SAP, ECC, and BW and all. And then this is your HANA server, which is your HANA DB. And then this is your BI client tool. Now, if you see, all the BI client tools are connected via different drivers, like JDBC, ODBC, ODBO, SQL. You have MDX, SQL, BIX. All these are drivers to connect to it. So if you see the overall architecture of the HANA server or HANA, basically 4 components are used in this one. One is a client tool, which is HANA Studio. Second is your data sources, which is your ECC, or ECC means SAP ERP. So ECC or BW or flat file system or mainframe legacy system, third party system and all. And third is your HANA server or HANA DB, where you are storing all the data, you are creating modeling on the top of it, and you are consuming that modeling via different BI client tools. So BI client tool is a 4th tool. Okay, so this is about the overall architecture. Now, I just want to discuss about the modeler features. So modeler is what? Modeler is basically using for modeling objects. What are the modeling objects? You have attribute view, analytic view, and calculation view. We'll discuss more details. We'll discuss it in detail about the modeling. So when we are talking about the modeler features, what all features you have? You have a modeling like you have a database view, choice to publish and consume, 4 levels of modeling: attribute, analytic view, enhanced attribute view, calculation view. Data preview, you can see physical tables and information tables. Models, you can see export and import options there. You can see. So all these options are available. If you open this one, so if I go to modeler, so if I go here, if I go to this one, if I take any demo 5, okay, you have a calculation view here. If you go to this one, you can click here. You can see the data. If you want to see the data preview, basically, if you cannot get the provider only, data provider, somebody has changed it, no problem. Somebody has changed the data, no problem. Here. So if you see the modeling view and also you can see here, you can drag it, you can go to this one, you can go to this one, you can go to this one. So here you can see this kind of reporting management team wants basically, right? So if you want to see the raw data here, you can see the raw data, what is there in the database actually. So you can see sales amount is there, product ID is there. If you want to see the distinct value, you can click on here. It will show you the table values and all. You can see the diagrammatic representation. If you want to see the product name, you can see the product name. So this way, and what I was telling about is that these are the modeling objects basically. So if you want to export import here, you have all the export import buttons. You can also, if you go to this one, you can also have a remove filters, and all those options are there. And if you want to see this one, test HANA, okay.
So that export import is only the way we do for if I move from development to production. So
Correct,
I will do an
correct,
export of the file. Only by this way I can do, or it's an automated way.
No, this is one of the way, and CTS Plus also they have released it for the new version of SPS 9. That is what I have heard. So let me confirm it whether it is working fine for CTS Plus or not. So I frankly speaking, I have not tested it, but till now I am doing export import of the objects.
So what did we say? CTS Plus?
Yeah, CTS Plus.
Okay. Just one more application, yeah?
No, CTS Plus, okay, just to tell you about CTS Plus is, normal CTS is your change transport system, okay. So when you are moving your SAP objects from dev to QA to production, you are using the CTS. Now CTS Plus, why it is given is, it is suitable for ABAP as well as Java stack. So that's why they have given the name as CTS Plus. So now, and it is a latest version in terms of change transport system. So when you are talking about the moving the objects from dev to quality to prod, basically SAP has now provisioned also for leveraging the CTS Plus to transport the object automatically rather than doing the manual process of export and import, because there might be a versioning issues, and due to which you can import your wrong version and you can mess up your data. So instead of relying on the manual process, SAP has tried to automate the process through CTS Plus. Okay. So if you can put it on mute, that will be nice. Yeah. Thank you. So that is.
Sorry to interrupt you. Like, how long you are going to continue the session today?
Just 5 minutes more, not more than that.
From tomorrow, I need to drop off because I have other meeting to join.
Yeah,
so
sure.
Tomorrow, it's going to be 7 p.m. PST, right?
7 p.m. PST, correct. Tomorrow, okay. Just let me tell you, this is the last slide, and then I will discuss one more minute. So it is talking about the modeling process. So I'll explain you later this slide because this might be relevant when you are doing a modeling. So basically we are importing all the, I explained you the end-to-end 7 steps of end-to-end reporting process. So it is similar to, it is aligned to that one, where you have a physical table, you store using the data provisioning, you load the data into HANA table. Once you load the data into HANA table, then you basically create a modeling object, attribute view, analytic view, and calculation view. Once you activate and make it deployable, then you are consuming it via different BI client too. So these 3 steps are very important in terms of doing a modeling and end-to-end reporting. So that is there in the architecture. Now what I was trying to talk is this one, the HANA schedule. You asked me about the dates and also I prepared it. I will share it with everyone. I think, Rakapam, if you can share your email ID, because I don't have your email ID. If you can just drop me an email, that will be very nice. I don't know whether you have my email ID or not, but SAP Consultant 2003.
Rajesh, I don't have it mail ID.
Okay, SAP Consultant 2003.
Rajesh, could you please type it?
Yeah, just let me type it. Let me type it. Siva, if you are getting late, you can leave it. I don't want to bother you for this. But tomorrow onward, you will be on. We will be starting at 7.
7,
PM.
right?
Yeah,
Okay.
7 p.m. So just wanted to show you that next class is going to be on 11th March. This is about your HANA scenarios. So I have put the date. Just go through that, and ultimately it is going to be completed on 1st of April.
No, 11th March,
whatever-
is it US time 11th March or what? What time?
Yes, it is 11th March is US time, which is Wednesday, which will be Thursday your time.
Okay, so the next class for me is a Thursday. What time in Indian time? Tell me the Indian time.
Okay, Indian time it will be, Siva, at 7 p.m. is 7:30 in India, right?
Right. 7:30.
Okay, yeah, 7:30, yeah.
7:30 a.m. on 12th March on 12th March. That's a Thursday.
Yeah, on 12th March. Yes, correct.
Okay. Can you share this PPT
Yeah.
immediately today?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I have some time.
Yeah.
I can.
Sure. So Rakapam, I shared the email ID. You can reply back. And I see one more, I think Kavita. So Kavita, I didn't interact with you earlier, but if you want to have an offline discussion, we can discuss further on this one. So
Rajesh, could you please share your mail ID, Rajesh?
yeah, I
SAP
already put SAP Consultant 2003 at yahoo.com. I already put it in Messenger. If you see, open that chat message, you will get
Okay,
it.
okay. Yeah, I got it. Thanks for this.
Yeah, no problem. So you can share it, share your email ID so that I can send PP to everyone, the PPT to everyone. And Ritesh, I have your email ID, so I can send it to you.
Okay.
Okay. And Kavita, I don't have your email ID, so if you are already enrolled, just share your email ID on my test, on my Yahoo email. I'll drop an email to you. Okay. So,
Yeah, Rajesh.
yeah, Siva, you can leave. I think I don't want to bother you. You are already getting late, so just leave it.
Yeah, thanks, Rajesh. I'll drop off.
Okay, no problem. I'll send the PPT immediately. Next half an hour, I'll send it.
Yes, Rajesh, I have not attended this session. Please share that.
Yeah, sure. I'll share that with you. I
Yes,
think
it is very difficult.
sorry. What was your question?
No, because yesterday's session was explaining about row column storage, right? So it is very important for me.
Yeah. I'll share it with you. Don't worry. Yesterday we had a discussion. If you can put it on mute, I think somebody's background noise is there. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, tell me.
That's it, Rajesh. So if you share that yesterday's session also, it will be good for me.
Yeah.
I have a continuity also, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's what I was also to say, Raju, because today I have some time, so probably I'm continuing to prepare myself. So I'm just waiting for your email for today's slide because we just walked through the architecture very immediately.
Yeah.
I want to detailedly go through that.
Cool.
So I'm
Sure.
just waiting for the PPT because it's already 12 o'clock your time. So
No problem.
so just send it to me immediately because it's only afternoon my time, so I have a lot of time today.
No, I'm going to send it to you. Don't worry.
Yeah,
So it has become my habit. So normally 12:30, 1 o'clock I do.
Okay, but just insect your
Yeah, sure.
I will lose all day.
No, I'm going to share it. Just bear with me for half an hour or so. I'll send it to you.
Please don't forget.
Sure.
Fine. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah,
We'll meet.
Thanks
on
everyone. I'm just waiting for your email, Rajesh. Thanks.
Sure. Thanks.